So good afternoon guys. I am the last reporter of the Module 10. So my topic is what were Quezon's policies towards Mindanao and how did this affect the Moros and Lumads? So when Manuel Quezon assumed the Commonwealth presidency, he identified three major priorities. Develop of Mindanao for national economic growth, strengthening the security of Mindanao and related islands. Third is advancement of integration of Moro population. So to better understand these priorities, the observation of Peter Going may be quoted. In view of the first priority, he said, in 1935, the Philippines faced a depressed economy dependent on free trade with the US, soon to end. The northern and central provinces were overpopulated, with increasing socio-economic and political problems due to dissident farmers and underemployment. So meaning ang dissident kay a person who impose the rules. While the underemployed is where individuals are employed but their work does not fully utilized. So Mindanao Sulu was seen as the answer to national economic issues. The region had vast undeveloped agricultural lands that could grow export crops like rubber, cotton, and cacao. This combined with the increased production of all export crops like copra, sugar, tobacco could boost the trade and national prosperity. So ang ila yung nakita nga solution sa overpopulated nga mga lugar is ang Mindanao ug ang Mindanao Sulu kay makagrow man siya og mga export crops like rubber, cotton, and cacao. So this could boost the trade and national prosperity. So the Mindanao Sulu region could provide a ample space for migrants from overpopulated northern and central province. So ang Mindanao Sulu na pod ang ilang nakita nga maka-provide og dako nga space para sa mga migrant nga mga tao gikan sa overpopulated provinces. So this was seen as a solution of the population pressures and socio-economic issues facing those regions. So the primary goal of Quezon's administration was to develop Mindanao, not necessarily for the indigenous population. So ang goal good ni Quezon ato kay dili lang niya gusto nga ma-develop ang Mindanao para lang sa mga indigenous population, but for the national economy, which was Luzon or Manila centered. The region was seen as land of promise for national prosperity. The Moros and Lumads, the indigenous people of Mindanao, failed to understand why Mindanao was described as the land of promise. So natingala sila nga nung gitawag ang Mindanao nga land of promise. So mura silang na-curious nga nung gitawag ni siya og land of promise. So regarding to the second priority, the government of Quezon perceived two major threats to national security in the Mindanao region. So ang first is the presence of non-Christian population in Mindanao and in Sulu. The second is growing Japanese agriculturists and entrepreneurs colony in Davao. Government concerns. Non-Christian perceived as a lacking of loyalty to the government. So kaning non-Christian perceive a lacking loyalty to government is kung siya kanang murag threat na siya, considered siya as threat kay ang non-Christian is murag dili na sa loyal sa government. Japanese expansionism raising fears of foreign influence. So to address these perceived threats, the Commonwealth government of Quezon would encourage substantial numbers of Christian native from Luzon and Visayas to migrate to Mindanao and Sulu. So ang gibuhat ni Quezon is nag-encourage og nag-encourage og Christian natives from Luzon and Visayas para mo-migrate sa Mindanao Sulu. So Migration then was the part of solution to both economic and security of the nation. So migration ang ilahang solution. So tungod ato kay migration rates increased dramatically from 1936 onwards. So tungod sa ilang gibuhat nga solution, nitaas ang migration rate. So impacts of Mindanao communities. Affected areas ato kay Lanao and Cotabato. Challenges for Moros and Lumads. Struggle with land registration procedures. So nag-struggle na sila sa pag-register sa ilahang mga land kay daghan naog ning migrate. Is preference of communal land ownership conflicted with the individuals and land titles. So nagka-conflict na. So limited government support of guidance. So nagkalimit na kay daghan na kayog tao tungod sa ni migrate, resulting in disadvantages. Moros and Lumads lost their ancestral land. So tungod ato ang mga gitawag nato nga mga pamana nga mga yuta is nangawala. Growing tension between settlers and indigenous population. So nagka-tension na. The government officials they turned to for council were often too busy to help. And when some did manage to file their registration papers, they were disheartened by the uncertainty and delay. So kung katong nanay ning file og mga registration papers, nanay mga delay. So regarding to the third priority, the Commonwealth government also did exert some efforts. However, these moves seem to Commonwealth governments than help. So Quezon believed integration could be achieved through applying the same rules to Christian and non-Christian. So there na, which somehow transgress the limits of cultural sensitivity. So when you say transgress is murag nawala na ang mga boundaries sa mga culture. So lack of respect for cultural pluralism and diversity. So murag wala na siya respect kung same raog rules ang Christian ug ang non-Christian kay kita mismo lahi-lahi gyud og mga rules. So Quezon was talking of laws that would be applied on Christian and non-Christian as if they were homogeneous people. He was somehow insinuating that was okay to the Christian majority would be okay also to non-Christian minority. It appears that Quezon did not realize that he was colonizing the cultural institution of Lumads and Moros. So wala na realize ni Quezon na yan din giapakan ang mga cultural institution sa Moros o Lumads. So if the state recognized monogamous marriage, the Moro and Lumads would certainly be alienated. So when you say monogamous, we only allow na one wife lang. So kung kana nga state kung kana nga law ang gi-apply, meaning ang Moros ug ang Lumads mulahi na sila kay if musabay sila sa katong nga law, meaning ang katong ilahang second wife is mahimo ng illegal. Kay monogamous marriage is only allow nga one wife lang. Second and succeeding wives and their children were deemed illegitimate by uniform application of law. So, abolition of Bureau of Non-Christian Tribes. He would also end the recognition of civil titles held by Moros and valued them as exclusive to their national social region. So, judicial reform. Special courts of traditional dispute resolution replaced with regular courts. Alienated Moros and Lumads accustomed traditional justice systems with salary officials. So, di rin na gusto na ni Quezon nga ang mga officials tapan kay anay mga salaries. So without noticing na he was actually corrupting the concept of leadership among the Moros. In the past, when the natives were still governed through their traditional leaders like Dato and Sultan, the traditional leader did not have a salary. So the replacement of native leadership with alien governance introduced significant challenges. Leaders receive attractive salaries and additional fund for civic activities, which often become opportunities for personal enrichment. This shift led to corruption, conflict, the violence among the families and clans vying for this lucrative position. Ultimately, the new system disrupted traditional values, altering the original concept of governance and leadership among natives. So, and that's all. Thank you.